John is a senior security analyst at Fairway Independent Mortgage Corporation. John, muy buenas tardes. Thank you so much for being here.
All right, thank you very much, Jorge. And also I want to thank the Latino Chamber of Commerce for once again inviting me to talk to all the entrepreneurs about a very important topic, not just to protect your company, but also to protect yourself, to protect your family, to protect people that you love, people that you care about in your community. And today we're talking about cybersecurity essentials for business. My friends call me Johnny IT. I've had a computer for a very long time, and my friends and my family, they would come to me for issues with their computer. If they had a virus or if they had some problem with their computer, they would come to me to help them with their computer problems. And now I've made it a career as well. And for if you have friends or family, children that are interested in a career, I would recommend that they take a look at information technology or cybersecurity because it's a growing field. I currently work at a mortgage company. I've been working at the mortgage company for over 8 years, and currently I'm a senior security analyst. And I have a side project. It's called Cali Disconnect, and it's education about security awareness. So let's get started with the presentation. Why should you trust me? That's a question that you should ask yourself whenever you're on the internet, whenever you're using Facebook, whenever you're receiving emails, any type of interaction that you're having on the internet, you need to ask yourself, why should I trust this? So since I'm presenting to you today, why should you trust me? Here's the reason. I graduated from Madison College. I graduated in 2012, a 2-year degree known as an IT network specialist. I've been working in the mortgage industry for 8 years. In the mortgage industry, if you're interested in purchasing a home, we're going to ask you some questions. We're going to ask for information. We're going to ask about your bank accounts, your source of income, your taxes, very private information. So we have a responsibility to protect your information and make sure that the hackers don't get your information, that someone doesn't steal your information and file your taxes on your behalf or steals your identity to do unemployment claims. We have a responsibility to protect your information. I'm a certified professional. I've studied and taken exams to pass them. So I'm certified as well to illustrate that I'm competent professional to provide this type of information. I practice security in my own life. So I don't just go to work, 8, 9 hours, 10 hours, and then I come home and I stop thinking about security. I take security and I incorporate all these concepts that I'm going to tell you. I practice them in my own life. I practice what I preach. So why should you care? Why should you care about security awareness? Well, if you have a business, you want to protect your reputation. You want to protect your brand. You're busy doing other things. You're busy doing marketing and purchasing things and services and offering services. You want to focus on your business and generating a profit. You don't want to worry about security awareness or someone trying to take advantage of you, fraud, crime. You want to be able to focus on your business and protect your confidential information. You want to protect your identity. You want to protect your bank accounts or any type of account. Because if someone steals your identity, guess what they're going to do? They're going to try and file your taxes, right? Because April 15th, tax time is right around the corner. You don't want people trying to file your taxes to get a refund. You don't want people taking your identity to try and file an unemployment claim. So you want to protect yourself. You want to protect yourself and your family. You also want to protect your customers and business partners. What if your customers or business partners give you sensitive information, but then your email gets hacked, and then the bad guys have all the information about your customers and business partners? That's not going to look good on your reputation. It's not going to look good. And now that we are going to be aware about these security awareness issues, you're going to be able to save valuable time focusing on your business, because now you're aware of the threats that are out there on the internet. So you know what to look for. You can also question what you see and ask yourself, should I trust this? Whether it's, a text message, telephone call, email, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, it doesn't matter. I want to equip you with critical thinking and a critical eye to be able to identify that something isn't right here. Something is wrong. I don't trust this. So let's talk about a concept called social engineering. So let's talk about, if you're watching a movie about hackers and hacking, then maybe you may have an image in your mind about someone sitting at a computer on their keyboard, hacking into a bank, hacking into the government, something very technical in nature. But the truth of the matter is, with hacking, sometimes all it takes is a good actor. As long as you're a good actor and you can trick someone, you can manipulate someone, that's called social engineering. And there's nothing technical about that. It's just being a good actor. So then that way, someone can believe that you are an authority figure or a business partner or a friend, but they're just doing impersonation, manipulation, fraud. And it's called social engineering. So here's the definition: the use of deception to manipulate individuals into divulging confidential or personal information that may be used for fraudulent purposes. It's just a good actor, social engineering. And social engineering, the clever manipulation of the natural human tendency to trust. We want to trust people, but unfortunately, there's criminals, there's people out there that this is their profession, to manipulate you, to socially engineer you, to try and get your money, to try and get your identity. That's social engineering. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about social engineering, manipulation, impersonation, fraud. So obviously, 2020 was a very difficult year, right? People lost their jobs. People couldn't spend time with their friends and families. People couldn't do the type of activities that they want to do. People lost their jobs. People lost income. People needed money. Guess what? The bad guys took advantage of that. I don't know about you, but me, I get text messages every single day. And I get text messages where they're offering me a job. If I want to get $500 a week to work remote, or I get a text message that says, if I advertise for Coca-Cola on my car, they'll give me $500 a week. Well, guess what? Some of those jobs, they're fake and they're a scam, because then what they'll do, you think you have a job. If you respond to that text message, that email, and you think you're getting a job, you're just going to be a part of their scam, and you're not going to even know it, because then you think you're doing a job, you're working. They send you a cashier's check. You take that cashier's check, you deposit it into your bank account. Guess what? That's a bad check. That's a bad check. But with cashier's checks, sometimes it takes a couple days or weeks to clear. So then the bad guy may try and pay you, but it's not really paying you. And then afterwards, they'll say, oh, you know what? I paid you too much money. send me $500 Western Union. And then you know what? If you sent them Western Union and then you waited for that cashier's check to clear and deposit, but it's a bad check, so it'll never deposit into your bank account. And guess who the bank is going to go after? The bank is going to go after you because you're the one that deposited that cashier's check into your bank account. So that's one type of social engineering, a fake job, a fake loan. Do you get a text message or an email or some message that says, I can loan you $10,000 for a very low interest rate, 1%, 2%. I can loan you money. That's what they're doing. They're just using you. They're using you for your bank account to try and move stolen funds or to try and manipulate you to then send Western Union or some type of prepaid debit card. If you go to Walgreens, you can get like those debit cards where you fill up money and then you can send it to someone else. That's social engineering. Let's talk about wire fraud. In the profession that I work in, the mortgage industry, think about it. You want to buy a home. You found a home, and during the process, after we get your personal information, your bank statements, financial statements, where your income is coming from, then perhaps at some point in time when you're purchasing a home, you may have to pay a down payment. Maybe the down payment is 20%. Maybe the down payment is 5%. Maybe the down payment is 3%. The bad guys know about industries and companies that they need ways to move money. They need to do wire transactions or cashier's checks. And so the bad guys in the real estate industry, they know that at some point in time, sometimes a family or people that are interested in buying a home need to pay a down payment. So the bad guys will try and hack into a realtor's email account or a loan officer's email account or an attorney's email account or a title company's email account. And guess what? If a bad guy has access into a professional's email account, then they're going to be looking at everything in the inbox. They'll look at all the emails in your sent items to know who you're communicating with. So eventually, if you're trying to buy a home and you need to put a down payment for 10%, 5%, then the bad guys may try and send you an email and say you need to send your wire to a different bank account. And then if you're not paying attention, if you believe them and you don't pick up the phone and validate the bank information, the routing number, the account number, if you're not validating that and the bad guy sends you some different wire instructions to send your down payment, then if you don't respond quickly and you send that wire, but you didn't validate the information, then you may be sending your wire, your down payment to a fraudulent bank account. And if you don't act right away to reverse that transaction, if you don't go to the bank to say, you know what, I wasn't supposed to send that money to that bank account. If you do not act quickly, you can kiss that money goodbye. You can kiss that money goodbye because it's a scam and it's fraud. Here's another thing that we face at the mortgage company: unauthorized payroll changes. So think about it. If you work at a job and maybe every 2 weeks, they do a direct deposit directly into your bank account. Imagine if someone was trying to impersonate you and they sent an email to your company's payroll department and they said, oh, I'm Johnny. I got a new bank account. I have a new routing and account number. Can you please start paying me on this new bank, routing and account number, this new bank? If the payroll department is not paying attention and validating and maybe picking up the phone to talk to them on the phone and validate, if they just look at an email and they don't validate through another method, then maybe they'll change the direct deposit information to a fraudulent bank account and then start paying someone else the hard-earned money that you earned. That's another type of social engineering and fraud right there. Fake CEO requesting employee W-2s. So we know with W-2s, you know, at the end of the year in preparation for doing your taxes, you know, maybe you're going to get a tax refund. Well, guess what? The bad guys want your W-2s too. So sometimes there's going to be someone impersonating the CEO, the CFO, whoever, to email, you know, payroll or HR department, and they're going to say, they're going to do an impersonation, manipulation, and they're going to say, oh, I'm the CEO. I need all the employees' W-2s. And then guess what? If the person didn't pick up the phone and validate who they were talking to, if they were worried, they were like, oh, I'm talking to the CEO. I better listen to him, you know, but they didn't, they just trusted an email. They received an email and they trusted in an email. You can't just trust an email. You have to find another way when it comes to sensitive transactions. You got to find another way to validate it. Pick up the phone, because then guess what? If the employee gets socially engineered and sends all the W-2s of the employees to someone that was impersonating the CEO, then guess what? They're going to start using that information to try and file fraudulent tax claims and tax refunds. Same thing goes for unemployment. In 2020, it was in the billions of dollars, the fraud, where people were trying to file unemployment claims. Like, I could still be working at the company. Like, you know, I've been working at the company for 8 years, but if someone stole my identity and had all my information, social security number, they could still go to the unemployment office, use my information and say, oh, you know what, Johnny, I'm unemployed right now. I need an unemployment check. Please send it to this routing number and account number, this bank account. Unemployment fraud was huge in 2020, billions of dollars. Or it could be something like, think about this. What if your friend or your business partner has their email account hacked, and then the bad guy is in control of their email account? They're going to look through the inbox. They're going to look through the sent items. They're going to look at all their contacts. And guess who they're targeting next? They're going to target all their friends and family that they see communicating with them in that email account that they hacked into and compromised. So then, you know, I may receive an email from someone that, you know, is my friend, but then they're saying, oh, it's my daughter's birthday. I'm in a meeting right now, but can you help me out? Can you send me iTunes gift cards? Can you send me Google Play gift cards? Can I have access to your Amazon Prime account so I can, you know, order some stuff for my daughter for her birthday? That's what the bad guys do. They'll try and impersonate people. They'll hack into people. And once they hack into your email account, they're going to see all your contacts and they're going to go after them next. And they're going to be impersonating you. Or another example, family member or business partner robbed and stuck in the Philippines. You know, you may get an email from someone like, oh, you know, I'm in the Philippines. I'm international right now. I was in the hotel and somebody robbed me. Or, you know, I'm in jail. I need you to send me Western Union. Send me Western Union. And you got to, don't trust email. Don't trust a message. You better pick up the phone and validate who you're talking to. You can't just trust the email and text messages and all that. You can't trust that anymore. You got to find another way to validate it when it's a sensitive transaction. So here goes an example. Right here, we see this example of someone trying to impersonate the CEO. And they're like, oh, do you have some free time? You know, and then if you reply back and you're like, yeah, I'm available, then they'll be like, oh, I need some gift cards. I need access to your Amazon account. I need access to the W-2s. I need you to change my payroll. You know, those are the type of schemes that they'll do. And I mean, here goes another impersonation of Bill Gates, an impersonation of Bill Gates. You know, Bill Gates was the founder of Microsoft, right? So like the Windows operating system that we have on desktops and laptops, like he was the founder. So here goes an impersonation of Bill Gates. You know, please I have an important overturn for you. So I mean, like, read this. I bid you greetings. I have an important overturn for you. Details will be given when you confirm receipt of this email. You can read this email and you can tell that the English is not their first language, right? English is not their first language. So they're using some very like weird and interesting words that, we don't utilize, every day, all the time. That's because English isn't their first language, and they may be in a totally different country, in a totally different time zone. When you have people that are attacking the mortgage company, they're from everywhere. They're from Nigeria. They're from South Africa. They're from Europe. They're coming from Dubai, all over international. These threats are not just in the United States. These threats are international, but the internet allows us to communicate so easily, so easily. I mean, think about it. If you have a criminal, what do you think? You think they want to go buy a gun and go rob a bank? That's old. That's old school. They don't want to just go buy a gun and go rob a bank. They just want to send you an email. They want to send you an email and see if they can socially engineer you and manipulate you and have you send hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars. What's more easy? Buying a gun, robbing a bank, or just sending someone an email? That's the new thing these days. So let's talk about another concept of social engineering, and it's called phishing. So think about it. In the state of Wisconsin, we have a lot of lakes. We just got done with wintertime. And we know some people that like to go fishing. Maybe they'll go, fish by the lake on the shore to catch some fish, right? They want to get some fish. Well, you see in this example of this slide here, phishing is spelled a little different. It's spelled with a PH. So with this type of phishing, with this type of social engineering, you know what they're phishing for? They're phishing for your password. They want your password to your email account, to your bank account, to your Western Union, to your Spotify, to your Amazon account. They want your password because that's power. Once they have your password, think about all the things that you have registered under your email account. All the different things that you have registered under your email account. If they can access your email account, then think of everything else that they have access to. That's what they're phishing for. So here's the definition: phishing, sending emails impersonating legitimate companies, brands, or people in order to manipulate individuals to reveal personal information, such as passwords, credit card numbers, social security numbers, your address, all that stuff. That's what phishing is. That's what they're aiming for. They're targeting to ruin your life. Click here. You get an email, a text message, a message. They want you to click this, type in your name, your password, your social security number. They want to steal your identity and they want access to all your accounts. So let's talk about your email account. What happens if someone had access to your email account? If they had your password? Your email account is very valuable. It's very valuable. Look at all the different things that you have connected to your email account. Your messages, your calendar, maybe you're backing up your photos and your documents, to like the Apple iCloud, or like the Google Samsung Cloud. Your call records, who you've been calling, who contacts you, all your contacts, your Facebook, your Instagram, your TikTok, Twitter, Western Union, Venmo, Cash App, Spotify, Netflix, bank accounts, Summit, Associated Bank, Chase, what else? I mean, they have access to everything. Think about all the things that you have registered under your email account. So your email account is very valuable, because now they got access to all your accounts. They can reset your passwords. They know who you email. They know who sends you emails. They know who you communicate with. So then once they have you, they're gonna go after everyone you know. So here goes an example of a phishing email. This is one that was sent to an employee at the mortgage company. So we see the date here. It was like June 3rd, 2020, right? So here, let me just take this out real quick. Spotlight. So remember when I was telling you about when people are interested in buying a home and at a certain point, they have to put a down payment? Around that time is called the closing. The closing is an important step in the mortgage process because that's like the end. It's like the towards the end of the transaction when you're trying to buy a home. So here goes a phishing email where they're trying to get you to click a link, right? They're trying to get you to click a link right here. So clear to close, Stewart Title. They're using familiar brands, familiar images within the mortgage industry, and they're trying to target an employee to click this link. And if you click this link, you get taken to a website, and then the website is going to be like, oh, what's your password? I need your password. This isn't real. This is fake. This is fraud. They want the password so then that way they can have access into this person's email account, see what type of transactions they're working on, because then they want to get in the middle of that transaction. They know that there's transactions, there's money moving around. They want in, they want the money. And that's what they're after. They're after the money, they're after the identities. So if you click that link and you think you're getting taken to a website and you type in your password, guess what? Now they got access. So this is one example right here of a phishing email. Here goes another one. This one was sent June 14th, 2020. I mean, look, it was from a Stephanie. Her email address is like Mech, Florida. But look at this. I mean, this doesn't even make sense because it's like Stephanie, Mech, Florida. But then right here it says like Caliber Home Loans, closer at Caliber Home Loans. So look, this isn't even a match. You got closer at Caliber Home Loans right here. You look over here, Mech, Florida. This doesn't even match, because they want you to click the link. They want you to click the link so they can steal your password. Here goes another example. If you're familiar with like Google Drive or Dropbox or Microsoft OneDrive, where you could store files and that kind of thing. This isn't an email from Dropbox. This is more social engineering, more phishing. I mean, look at this. This doesn't even look professional. This doesn't even look right. Dropbox, Holly, CC Mech. But look, they're trying to manipulate you with familiar images, familiar brands. Look at this. You see this too? Is blank. Is blank. Why is that? Because you're not the only recipient. They might send this email to 50 other people, 100 other people, 1,000 other people. But you don't know that because they did a BCC, blind carbon copy, where they can send an email to a lot of people, but you don't know that because you can't see it. And what do they want you to do? They want you to click the link, and when you click that link, they want your password so they can access your email account. This is more fraud, phishing, social engineering. Here goes another example. This is your web browser, right? Like Google Chrome, Firefox, Internet Explorer. All of a sudden you get a pop-up and it says Microsoft. We need we need your username and password. Suspicious activity on your computer. You got a virus. We need your username. We need your password. Call this number. Call this number. We're Microsoft support. No, this is fraud. This is a scam. They want to steal your password. Or if you call this number, it's someone, in an international foreign location. They're going to connect to your computer. They're going to install a virus on your computer. This is a scam. This isn't real. This is another way of social engineering to try and steal your password, your email account, install a virus on your computer. So we're trying to protect our business. We're trying to protect our reputation. We're trying to protect our friends, our family, our community. So let's talk about business email compromise. And this impacts everyone. It impacts all industries globally. This isn't just real estate or mortgage. This is any type of industry. Everyone is a target. And when you're a business and when someone hacks into your email account, that's called business email compromise. So let me show you something. Public service announcement, Federal Bureau of Investigation. Look at this date right here, May 4th, 2017. And so remember where we were talking about, they're trying to get in the middle of the transaction. They're trying to get in the middle of the wire. They're trying to steal the money. That's what it's called, business email compromise. So look at this, business email compromise, the $5 billion scam. So that was in 2017, right? $5 billion. 2018, business email compromise, the $12 billion scam. So it went from 5 to 12. September 10th, 2019, business email compromise, the $26 billion scam. So you see these numbers, how they increase, 5 billion, 12 billion, 26 billion. And I guarantee you it's more than that because that's only who reports it. Think about the people that don't report it. So this is just people that report it. So it's probably a lot more than this. And this is the industry that I work in right here. So read this. Real estate sector targets. The bad guys heavily targeted the real estate sector in recent years. Victims participating at all levels of a real estate transaction have reported this. Title companies, law firms, real estate agents, buyers, people that are interested in buying a home, people that are selling their home. Victims report a spoofed email. What is a spoofed email? It's impersonation. It's you trusting someone via email that you shouldn't be trusting, but you didn't pick up the phone. You didn't pick up the phone. You didn't talk to someone face to face. You trusted an email. You thought you knew who you were talking to, but you just got scammed for big money. And if you don't act quickly, if you don't go to the bank and tell them to reverse that, if you don't contact the FBI, if you don't work with the bank, you can kiss that money goodbye. Because after a couple of days, it's gone. That money is gone. So let's talk about business email compromise. Let's break it down. So here's the bad guy right here. And he sends you an email. He sends you a text message. He sends you a message on Facebook Messenger. It doesn't matter. He just sends you a message. And you thought it was somebody that you could trust. So then you clicked on a link. You clicked on a link, you got taken to a website. And then what did you do? You typed in your password. You just got phished. When you receive a phishing email and you fall for it and you type in your password, that's called you just got phished. All right. So then now they have access into your email account. Guess what they're doing? They're monitoring your inbox. They want to know who you're doing business with, who you're sending money to, who you're doing transactions with. Because then guess what? They're going to try and get in the middle of that and try and manipulate both of you to send the money to a different email account. So here you go. When the opportunity arises, the cyber criminal is going to send a fake invoice. A fake invoice. So, if you have some customers and they owe you money, and then they start targeting people that owe you money with a fake invoice, with a routing in account number to a fake bank account, a scam bank account. Now your reputation is at risk because, now you got hacked and now your business partners are being targeted. And that's business email compromise. This is just another way to look at it. Email, your password is compromised. They're looking for transactions. They want to know about transactions, purchase orders. They're going to do some impersonation. They're going to do some impersonation to send an email, an email. with some invoices, with some, you know, a scam bank account. And, you know, they're going to modify the bank payment destination in the invoice, and they're going to forward the information. So that's business email compromise, and it's a problem. Every year it grows. So we need to know about this. So let me show you an example here. This was December 24th, 2019. So this email right here is someone that was buying a home, and they were almost at the finish line. They were almost at the finish line in the stage called closing, at the point where they needed to send a down payment. So this is an email that the buyer received. The buyer received an email from this, you know, closing8.com, you know, 8 o'clock in the morning. And this is the bad guy. This is what the bad guy is saying. Good morning. To avoid closing delay, you're to wire $12,607.14 cash to close today. And this isn't real. This is fraud. So think about it. If they didn't pick up the phone, if they didn't talk to someone face to face, if they didn't validate this, if they just went to the bank and they followed the instructions with the routing and the account number, then they could have potentially lost $12,000. But this person that was buying a home, they knew better. They knew better. So then they ended up sending this email to the correct person. They were like, "Hi, talk about wire fraud. Look what got emailed to me on Friday, December 20th. You know, thankfully it went to my spam filter. But if I hadn't noticed the email was different, I might have considered it." See? So if this email hadn't gone into their spam folder, then maybe they would have followed the directions and wired $12,000 to the wrong bank account. And that's my point. My point is you can't trust email. When you're talking about sensitive transactions, sensitive information, you better make sure you're on the same page with your business partners and you're communicating them with, you know, telephone, face to face. You got to do that in this day and age. It's necessary. So how do you protect yourself? How do you protect yourself from these threats? Here's one concept. Here's one way to protect yourself. And it's called multi-factor authentication. So think about it. When you access your email account, what do? You go to the website, you type in your username, you type in your password, and now you're inside your email account. Multi-factor authentication adds one more step. It adds one more step to access your email account. Now, if you have multi-factor authentication enabled, then when you're going to access your email account, you type in your username, you type in your password, and then you get a code on your phone. Maybe you get a code that's text message, or maybe you get a code that's emailed. So it's like two locks on one door. You no longer have one lock on your email account, which is your password, but now you have two locks to unlock the door to your email account. Now you're using your password, and now you also got to get a code on your phone to be able to access your email account. So if the bad guy has your password, they still don't have access to your telephone. So they still can't get that code from your phone to complete the login to your email account. And it's not just your email. I mean, it's bank accounts, it's Facebook, it's Instagram. This multi-factor authentication, like the majority of accounts nowadays, you can turn that feature on. So that's one way to add additional security. And every day, every week, every month, you already use multi-factor authentication. Think about it. You have a debit card. If you want to go to the ATM and you want to withdraw money, when you walk up to the ATM or drive up to the ATM, you don't just say, "Give me money." What do you have to do? You got to do two things. You got to put in your debit card. That's one thing. And then you have to have your PIN, right? So you put your debit card into the ATM, you type in your PIN. That's multi-factor authentication. So you already know about this concept. You use it all the time. And so multi-factor authentication, when you're going to the ATM, what are the factors? Well, one factor is something that you know. It could be your password. It could be your PIN, but it has to be a combination of one of the, at least two things. So maybe it'll be your password and your PIN, but then maybe you also need your phone to log into your email account, or maybe you need your debit card to walk up to the ATM and take money out. Or, sometimes it could be like your password and a phone, or, you could use your fingerprint, your retina, on your eye. So, ATM, that's an example right there of a concept that you use all the time. So let me show you something real quick. Think about this. You may feel like you're a very security aware person and that you protect yourself and you protect all your information. Here's the problem. The problem is, what if you decided to sign up for a website, like LinkedIn or Dropbox, Pandora for music, Spotify. So say that you signed up for a service, and what if that service got hacked? Then the bad guy that hacked that service, they probably have all their subscribers, all their members, the email addresses, and the passwords. So even if you protect yourself, if you registered for another company to use their service, and you registered, with your email address, and you created a password, and then that service gets hacked, then the bad guy can potentially have a list of all their members, all their subscribers, and all their passwords. So let me show you something real quick. Let me show you something here. I'm gonna put this on the screen here. So this website, have I been pwned? This website is run by a Microsoft employee, but this is like his side. This is like his side thing. This is his personal project. And the Microsoft employee, what he does is he just keeps track of all the different companies that got hacked. That's all he does. He just, on this website, he just keeps track of all the companies that got hacked. So
Hey, Johnny,
just look up some. Yes, sir.
Luis Abraham have a question for you.
Oh, sure, absolutely. What question can I answer?
Okay, go ahead, Luis. Go ahead.
Hey, Johnny. What's up, man? Just a quick question for you. So I guess you were just talking about accounts and opening accounts kind of. And recently I've been looking at opening accounts for my own business and stuff. But what I've noticed as of recently was that now they're asking, like, do you want to open an account using your Apple ID? Do you want to open an account using your Google ID? Do you want to open up an account using your Facebook ID? Now they don't necessarily ask you to create your own individual account. Is there a benefit to just migrating your account using your Google account, your Gmail, or whatever it may be? Or, I mean, personally, because I like to believe that I'm pretty secure online and stuff. So I always create a new account no matter what. But maybe not. Maybe it doesn't really matter what I do.
That's a great question. And with some websites, sometimes they want you to create a new account, with your email address and create a new password. And other times, if you already have a Facebook account, then you can just sign in with that. That's a concept known as single sign-on. And that decision is up to you. If it's more convenient for you to use, your Facebook to sign in, you're welcome to do that. If you decide that you don't want to sign in with Facebook or anything like that, and you want to use your own, email account and password, then my recommendation to you would be to use a new password. Use create a new password, and don't recycle your passwords. Because the problem is if you use the same password for your bank, for your email account, for your Spotify, if you use the same password for all your accounts, then if the bad guy has your password, and if you don't have multi-factor authentication, then they could try and start logging into all your accounts. So that's a good question. And you can either create a new account or you can sign in with your Facebook. But if you do decide to sign up for a new account, then you'll want to make sure that you're using a new password. And I have a solution for that too,
Right.
because obviously it's very difficult to remember all these passwords, right? So like if you go to pay your electricity bill once a month, and then, it comes time to pay the electricity bill, but then you forgot your password because, and then you got to reset the password. It's very frustrating and annoying. And I have a slide. I have a slide here on a solution for that. So we'll talk about that soon. But does that answer the question for you?
Yeah, I guess it does. I was mostly wondering if there's a benefit to or a difference whether or not I say, oh yeah, go ahead and use my Google account and create an account for me versus creating an individual account using an individual email. I don't know. Maybe I'm not making sense.
No, it's a good question. And sometimes just for convenience. Sometimes just for convenience, if they offer and say, hey, sign in with your Facebook account or your Google account instead of creating a new account, it just makes it more convenient because then you don't, it's not another password that you have to remember. You can just use an account that you already have established. So it's just more convenient. It's one less, thing to remember. So out of convenience, if you want to take that route, there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine.
Cool. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. So remember when we were talking about the founder of Microsoft, right? Bill Gates. We were looking at an impersonation email that was impersonating Bill Gates. Well, let's talk about Bill Gates and his email accounts. Let me show you something. billg@microsoft.com. Now let me show you something here. And I mean, I could put my email address in here to look up things that are associated with me, but I'll just use Bill Gates as an example because this is his email address right here. So let me look this up. Here's the problem with using the same password. The problem with using the same password is what if you register for a company and they get hacked? What if you sign up for Animal Jam? What if you download an application on your phone called Animal Jam? Well, guess what? They got hacked. They got hacked in October 2020. So the bad guy that hacked Animal Jam, guess what they got access to? Anyone that subscribed to this service, this website, Animal Jam, the bad guy now has access to dates of birth, email addresses, passwords, addresses. What else do we have in here? What else did Bill Gates sign up for? Let's see, what else is familiar? Dropbox. So Bill Gates happened to be a user of Dropbox, and guess what? In 2012, Dropbox got hacked. So the bad guy has access to all the subscribers' email addresses and passwords of Dropbox back in 2012. What else do we have in here? Let's see, Hotlook. This is like Macy's, right? Shopping for clothes online. Hotlook got hacked in mid 2018. And apparently Bill Gates was shopping online at Hotlook. So guess what? Compromised data, date of birth, email address, gender, passwords, Home Chef, food delivery service. So you know how there's like Yelp and there's Uber Eats. Well, apparently there's another service called Home Chef. And guess what? This food delivery service, they got breached in 2020. So think about it. What if you were ordering food through Home Chef? Then guess what? Then the bad guys have access to all their subscribers' email addresses, partial credit card data, passwords, phone numbers. What if you were interested in buying a house or moving to a new house and you decided you want to construct a new house? So you were doing a home design website. Apparently House is a home design website and they got hacked 2018. So what does the bad guy have access to? Email addresses, names, passwords. What else do we have? Last FM, that's like Spotify and Pandora. So Bill Gates was signed up for Last FM, which is like an online radio service. And guess what? Last FM, they got hacked March 2012. So what does the bad guy have access of all the subscribers? Email addresses, passwords. What else do we got up in here? MySpace. You remember MySpace back in the day? You know, like Facebook, but MySpace back in the day. Apparently Bill Gates was signed up on MySpace. MySpace got hacked. And what did the bad guy have access to? Email addresses, passwords. So my point is, even though you think you're secure, even though you think your password is good and it's a secret, if you subscribe to another service that gets hacked, then that bad guy potentially has access to all the information of all the subscribers, and that's not a good thing. So that's just an example that I wanted to illustrate for you. So here you go. So like say you're logging into your Gmail account. So you type in your username, you type in your password, but with multi-factor authentication, there's one more step. Now you gotta look on your phone and either get the text message or the email or the notification that says, you know, give me the code, or do you authorize, you know, this person logging into your email account. So this is an extra layer of protection. That's an extra layer of protection that I'm talking about. So guess what? If you were subscribed to Hotlook, if you were subscribed to Dropbox, if you were subscribed to Animal Jam, and then the hacker that hacked those services has your password, they still can't get in to your email account or your bank account because they still need to do this second step, and you're the only one that's in possession of your phone to be able to complete that. So that's one way to protect yourself. Here's another thing that I use. This is what I use, a password manager. So remember when I said like the recommendation is to use a different password for every account that you have? Obviously, that's very difficult to try and remember all those passwords. And then if you don't remember the password, then you got to reset the password and create a new password. So one thing that you can install on your computer, install on your phone, is a password manager that remembers all your passwords. And then guess what? You can also turn on multi-factor authentication for your password manager. So you can still lock down even your password manager with not just a password, but also your phone with multi-factor authentication. So then that way, since my password manager remembers, you know, the Amazon account, the Best Buy account, the Facebook account, the Dropbox account, your bank account, all this stuff, your password manager remembers all those passwords for you. And it makes it a lot easier to manage passwords instead of trying to remember what, you know, what's my password? I don't remember what my password is. Oh, now I got to reset my password. And it's just a cycle every month. You're always resetting your password. And, you know, it gets frustrating. So that's what I use. I use a password manager to help me remember all that stuff. Here's another thing to think about. Think about what you have on your phone. You have pictures of your family, your friends, you know, you got documents, spreadsheets. What if you lose your phone? What if you lose your laptop? What if you leave your laptop in the back seat of your car and someone breaks in, smashes the window and steals your laptop that had all your personal files, all your documents, you know, sensitive information, your photos from, you know, years. You got all this stuff that you've been collecting for years, and now you lost it all. Back up your files. If, you know, on your phone, set it up to back it up to the iCloud. If you have an Apple phone, if you got like an Android phone, back it up, set it up to backup. You have, you know, a WhatsApp email or a WhatsApp, you know, application to communicate with friends and family. You know, here or internationally, you could back up the chat. So back it up. That's important. You don't want to lose the sensitive information that you have. You could do it on a USB drive, you know, or a big one, but that's kind of, you know, old school. Now, you know, you could do the cloud. You could do the iCloud. You know, you could do the Google Drive, Microsoft OneDrive. And guess what? All those cloud backup solutions, you can also turn on multi-factor authentication. So now, even though you have a backup solution that's backing up all your sensitive pictures, documents, and everything, you could still protect it with not just a password, but also your telephone. Very important to back up your stuff, because otherwise, if you lose your laptop, lose your phone, how are you going to get that back? You can't get it back. It's gone. Another important thing about security awareness is running updates on your phone, running updates on your laptop, your desktop. What do updates do? Updates add additional features and functionality. They fix bugs. They fix security issues. So let me tell you a story. We all know about Equifax.
Johnny,
Yeah.
Johnny, just a second. Somebody have the, levantó la mano. King,
Oh, sure.
I don't have the name of the people that, who is the person? Go ahead, please.
Hi, I have a quick question. So I was wondering how unsecure is to be always logged in. Like I'm always logging into my Gmail. I just literally just put my password on my phone and I'm going to my Gmail app and open that up. I don't have to, enter my password or nothing like that. Is that like, I just wanted to know how unsafe is that?
That's a good question. So what type of phone do you have? Do you have like an iPhone or Android, or what kind of phone do you have?
iPhone, and I'm talking about like any apps. Like I also have that on my personal computer, which is a Dell computer. So I just want to know how unsecure it is to have them open on my computer or my iPhone.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. That's a great question. And here's the thing. So, on your phone, you can lock it down, So on your phone, every time you pick it up, you can have it set up to put like a pin, So I like on my phone, I don't even use like a 4-digit pin. I use like a 5-digit pin. So
Yeah,
you
I
can use
use
the
like
pin.
8-digit, but so I always have to obviously unlock my phone. But once I unlock my phone, then I have my Facebook app open, so I just go right there and it's open. I don't have to re-enter another password.
Yeah, great question. Great question. And this is the key. This is the key right here, is to have your phone with like a pin, or, nowadays, how you can use your thumb or your finger. That's biometrics. That's biometrics where you're not just using like a pin, something, but now you're using like your thumbprint, or maybe it even recognizes your face. That's the key. You got to have that type of, pin on your phone to lock it, or also on your desktop and your desktop and your laptop. You need to make sure that every time you log into it, that it requires a password. And then if you walk away for 10 or 15 minutes, then you got to make sure that, if you walk away for 10 to 15 minutes, then your computer automatically locks. And then when you walk up to your computer again, you have to type in your username and password again.
It does
That's
happen.
key. Excellent. That's great. That's necessary. And so here's the thing. I don't know if people remember, a couple years ago, there was someone in California that went and shot their coworkers. They were walking around, they shot their coworkers. And then the police came and put them in jail. And the police had their phone, but the police couldn't get inside the phone. The police couldn't get inside the phone because they didn't have the PIN. And on a telephone, it's deeper than just a PIN, because when you have a phone, when you have your phone turned off, until you add your PIN, there's a concept called encryption. Encryption, where no one can access your phone, and if they take it apart and have the information, they can't access it until they have the PIN, because otherwise everything on your phone is encrypted. So that's why it's so crucial to have like a PIN or biometrics where you use your thumbprint or your finger to unlock it, because until you put that in, your phone is encrypted and scrambled. So if you ever see like those Apple commercials that talk about privacy and your security, that's what it is, because your phone is encrypted and scrambled until you put the PIN in. And then once you put your PIN or you use your fingerprint, that's when it unencrypts your phone and allows access into your phone. So that was like a big issue because, you know, when that person in California shot all their coworkers and the cops had the bad guy's phone that shot everyone, the cops went to Apple and they said, Apple, unlock this phone. And Apple said, no, I'm not going to unlock this phone because then, you know, our reputation would be impacted because, you know, we advertise privacy and that kind of thing. So that was a couple years ago. So yeah, good question. Good question there.
So in other words, as long as I have a number that I have to use to unlock my Androids or iPhone, I'm safe as long as I have that.
That's going to help. That's going to help reduce the risk because it's the thing with security is just because you do one thing, it's not enough. With security, it's layers of security. It's utilizing different concepts. All these concepts that we're talking about in this presentation, you can consider because security is like an onion. Security is like an onion. You know, when you have an onion, you take apart the onion, it has all different kind of layers. The more layers you have, the more layers of security that you're utilizing, the better. So
Thanks.
you're welcome. So let me tell you a story. We know about.
Sorry, Johnny.
sorry,
Luis tiene another question, please. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, can I just follow up on that? I was kind of wondering. So from the person's question, I lose my phone a lot. So this is kind of sad, but I lose my phone at least once a year. And then every time I'm freaking out that, you know, maybe my phone is not secure enough or whatever. So when they hook it up to a computer, whoever finds it, because it never turns up. So whoever finds my iPhone and they hook it up to a computer, they can't get into my personal files, right?
If they don't have you know your PIN, that phone is encrypted. That phone is encrypted and they're unable to access it. I mean, there's exceptions to the rule. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's certain ways that people can try and hack stuff, but you know, have a PIN on your phone and make sure that you're updating your device because as long as you're updating your device, then that's gonna fix any holes, any security holes and that kind of thing. So when we talk about security and layers of security, that's what I'm referring to. That, yeah, you know, it's good to have a PIN on it, but you know what? You should also be backing up. You should also be updating your devices and software. So that way it's going to fix any security holes to keep the bad guys out. So it's a strategy where you're trying to utilize multiple different security to protect yourself. But yeah, basically your phone is encrypted. So unless they have your PIN, they're going to have a very difficult it's going to be very difficult for them to try and get into your phone because like in that example about the person in California that went around and shot all their coworkers, the police couldn't, you know, were even trying to get into the phone and it was very difficult. So then they had to approach Apple. So that, you know, that's to show how the security is.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So let me tell you a story. We all know about Equifax, right? You know, whenever you want to get a loan, whenever you want to get a mortgage, you know, they check your credit history to see what your credit score is. So there's Equifax, there's Experian, there's TransUnion, there's all different types of credit bureaus, right? So let me tell you a story. Remember when Equifax got hacked a couple years ago, October 3rd, 2017? The reason why they got hacked is because they weren't doing updates. They weren't doing updates. They had a website. They had a website, but they didn't update it. So then the bad guy hacked into the website and then, you know, got access into people's credit history, social security numbers, and that kind of thing. So then afterwards, Equifax offered everyone credit monitoring to monitor your credit report, to see if anyone's trying to take out a loan under your name or a credit card or that kind of thing. The reason why Equifax was breached back in 2017 is because they weren't doing the updates. They weren't doing the updates on the software. So that's an example right there of, you know, not updating and the price that they paid, Equifax. You know, so I mean, this is a key step. This is a key step that anyone can take to secure their devices. You know, so at nighttime, you know, or you're not using your phone. It's the end of the day. You know, it's 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. It's time to cook dinner, time to read a book, time to watch TV. Then just set your phone to update. You know, you're not using it. Just set your phone to update so it can update anything connected to the internet. You know, it's not just computers. It's not just laptops. It's not just your phone. You know, your PlayStation, your Xbox. You know, if you have like an Amazon, you know, speaker. Nowadays, if it's connected to the internet, if it's connected to your Wi-Fi, if it's connected, you know, to your router with an Ethernet cable, then chances are it can be updated. So, you know, back up your stuff and then update it. And the simplest way to ensure all devices are current is just enable automatic update, just automatic updating. And I mean, here's the truth. I mean, sometimes something goes wrong when you run an update. I'm not going to say updates are perfect. Sometimes updates go wrong. That's why when we talk about security and layers like the onion, that's when we talk about backup. So as long as you're backing up things, then if you update something and something goes wrong, then at least you got a backup, right? So that's the strategy, security and layers. What else do you need? You know, antivirus. And nowadays, if you buy a computer for like Best Buy, and if it's a Windows computer, then it comes with Windows Defender for free. So nowadays, you know, when you're buying a computer, if you're buying a Windows computer, if you're buying an Apple, you know, Mac OS X computer, then straight out the box, it's going to have antivirus software to protect from viruses. And those also need updates. The antivirus software needs a connection to the internet to get the latest updates so it can protect you from all the latest viruses. So let me tell you about one threat that targets the real estate industry and other industries. It's called a RAT, a remote access Trojan. So think about it. If you received an email with a weird attachment and then you run that attachment, then you may infect yourself with a rat. And then it's going to start watching everything you do, everything you type, maybe even access your webcam, and you don't even know it. Someone is monitoring you because they infected you with the remote access Trojan. So that's what antivirus is going to try and protect against. You know, those type of viruses and threats. You know, Windows 10, it comes with Windows Security Defender. Mobile devices are a little different. Mobile devices are a little different because, I mean, think about it. On your desktop or your laptop, you can pretty much install anything, right? Whatever you know, on the internet, if you want to download some software, you have the power to install anything, which can be a problem because, you know, if you're letting your, you know, your son or your daughter or your cousin borrow your computer and they download something, you know, and they try and install something and now your computer is infected with the virus, that's a problem. Mobile devices are a little different because if you have like an Android phone, then you're getting applications from Google Play Store. And if you have like an iPhone, then you're getting it from an Apple App Store. So, you know, usually they want to protect their brand, they want to protect their reputation. So first, before they even offer an application on Google Play or the App Store, they're going to do some research and investigation. So you're usually a little more protected on mobile devices from viruses, but you still got to be careful. You still got to be careful because you know, something could slip through. So that's something to keep in mind. And here's another example, you know, why you should have antivirus. If anyone has ever heard of ransomware, especially like starting in like 2017 to the present, ransomware is where if you get an email and you have like an attachment, or maybe you click on a link to go to a suspicious, malicious website, then maybe it'll install ransomware on your computer or ransomware on your phone. So what is ransomware? Well, think about it. For example, let's say you have a laptop and let's say you have all your photos and all your spreadsheets and all your documents, and then you get infected with ransomware, it's going to lock all your files. It's going to lock all your files, and it wants a ransom. It wants you to pay $100 or $1,000 or $10,000 to get the key to unlock all your files. It's like it's just another way to try and get money from you with ransomware. So that's why you got to be careful of what you're clicking on, what you're downloading, what you're executing, because then you could get infected with ransomware that locks all your files, and then you got to pay money. See, look, send $300 worth of Bitcoin to this address. And here's additional tips. Google's your friend. I mean, you know, here we are in this presentation with the Latino Chamber of Commerce, and they're going to have resources to help us, right, with different things, marketing, legal, taxes, you know, business, whatever. So sometimes you need a professional to help you. But otherwise, if you search on Google, if you search on YouTube, sometimes with certain things, you could save money if you do it yourself. Like, you know, if I need to fix my car, you know, if I need to fix, you know, a filter or something. Sometimes if you just search on Google or on YouTube, sometimes if you educate yourself with free resources, maybe, you know, with certain things, you could save money, educate yourself, and, you know, be more knowledgeable to help your business. Here's another tip. Keep your business and your personal life separate. You know, if you have a company, my recommendation is have a different email account. Don't use your personal email account to also conduct business. You should keep it separate, because when you keep it separate, then it's easier to identify scams. It's easier to identify phishing. But then if you have all your personal communication and all your business communication in the same email account, it just makes it more difficult to track. If you know, and then here's another tip. If you no longer use an online service, delete it. So maybe 10 years ago, you opened up an Instagram account, you wanted to be a photographer, but you know, that was 10 years ago, and now you don't want to be a photographer, you don't want to be a chef, you don't use the Instagram account anymore. Well, then log into Instagram and delete it. Because if you're not using it, what's the point? Delete it. And you know, if you receive something suspicious on Facebook, on WhatsApp, you know, on your email, report it. Report it as phishing, report it as abuse. Don't just block them, report it. So then that way the organization can do some research and shut down those scammers. Because maybe you get a message on Facebook from someone and they're trying to be very romantic, and maybe they want to be your boyfriend or your girlfriend. No, guess what? That's also social engineering. Maybe they're eventually going to try and ask you for money, and they're going to try and have you send them Western Union or something like that. So report it. Report it so they can get shut down and blocked instead of just blocking them. So I appreciate everyone's attention for today. And we recorded this video, and I just want to show you something here. I'm going to put this link in the chat here. I'm going to put the link in the chat here because I want to show you something. This is the video that we recorded 3 months ago. Right here, November 11th, 2020. So maybe if you want to review the video, the things that we talked about, and maybe if you want to see it in Spanish, let me show you something here. You can only do this on your laptop or your desktop, but here's a video right here. And what you can do is you see this closed caption right here, subtitles. So you can do subtitles, closed caption, and then look at this. You can do this with any video on YouTube, on your desktop or your laptop. So if you ever see a video that's in English, then you could put subtitles with closed caption, and then right here, look at this. I can click this subtitle, auto translate, and then I could auto translate it to like Spanish, right? So I could come down here, Spanish, and then, you know, here, I can just come over here and then look at that. So when you're watching a video on YouTube that's in English, then you could still have the subtitles down here in Spanish. It's not perfect, but it's better than nothing. So it's something to think about not just for my videos, but for any English videos that you see on YouTube. You could turn on closed caption, and then you can go to the settings and do, auto-generated to Spanish. So does anyone have any questions or anything that I can answer for them?
Can you stop the screen, the share screen, Johnny, please?
Absolutely.
Si alguien tiene alguna pregunta, again, okay, go ahead, please.
Profe, tiene una pregunta
Okay.
en el chat.
Sí.
Okay. So my question is, I know that, and I'm not trying to advertise anything like that, but I don't know why I always feel safer with Apple, like even the computers, because I don't really buy antivirus and I haven't had any problems with it. So I was just wondering, from your point of view, what computers, I know you mentioned Google and then Apple, that are the safetiest for any viruses that could potentially come through.
Yeah, that's a good question. And at the end of the day, whether it be Windows, whether it be Apple, whether it be Macintosh, the bad guys are the bad guys are targeting everything. So, the recommendations that I would have would be being security aware. If you're suspicious about a message, if you're suspicious about an email, then don't click it, don't download it, don't execute it. At the end of the day, it's up to us. It's up to us to be security aware, to try and trust a computer to protect us. It takes more than that. It's up to us to question what we see. We can't trust everything. So don't click that link. Don't download that attachment, don't execute it. It doesn't matter how much protection that we have. At the end of the day, it's up to us to make the right decisions with what we're doing on the internet. So regardless of what brand, Apple, Windows, Microsoft, Google, whatever, at the end of the day, it's up to us to be security aware and know what to trust and what not to trust.
Thank you. Johnny, some people is asking about what happens if somebody try to stolen the identity. They need to report to the police. What is the option that we have in these cases?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So if someone steals your identity here, that's a great question here. Let me show you something here. Identity theft. Let's see here. There's a website. There's a government website for that. I'm gonna put it in our Zoom chat, and it's right here. Let me just share my screen again real quick.
Sure.
Let's see here. So I put it in the chat, identitytheft.gov, and look right here. You can even put it right here, en español. So I mean, you could do it in English, you could do it in Spanish, right here. So I can click this, robodeidentidad.gov. So there you go. It's right here. You could have all this information. So this website will walk through all those steps. But if someone stole your identity, it's good to report it. It's good to monitor your credit report, at least annually. At least one time annually, you should be checking your credit report to make sure people aren't taking out loans under your name, trying to, sign up for credit cards. But this is where you could go. You could go to here. I'm gonna put this in the chat right here too.
Right.
So hold on to that, because that will come in very handy.
Okay. Some final question? No more questions? Great. Thank you so much, Johnny. I think the workshop was great. All the people have a great information about the cybersecurity. Thank you so much for sharing with us, with Latino Chamber of Commerce and Incubator Program, this great information about the cybersecurity essential for businesses. Thank you. Vamos a hacer un aplauso a Johnny, please, por esta excelente presentación. Ponemos en virtual. Creo que estuvo extraordinaria la presentación. Great information. We appreciate your time, Johnny, and all the things that you shared with us this night. Thank you so much for your help.
Absolutely. Thank you for attending. I appreciate helping out the community. So everyone have a good night.
great night for everyone. Gracias, chicos. Creo que fue excelente presentación. Creo que se han dado cuenta de la importancia, sobre todo cuando son dueños de negocios, de estar informados de todas estas cosas. Y nos sirve en nuestra vida personal, sobre todo, ¿verdad? Porque siempre recibimos cosas, siempre recibimos atentos de atacarnos, de robarnos información. Y creo que este es uno de los workshops más importantes que traemos nosotros a ustedes como parte del programa. Así que los felicito por todos los que se conectaron y espero que sea de mucha utilidad todas las recomendaciones que John ha hecho esta noche. Yo creo que va a ser así. Espero que sea así. Muchas gracias y nos vemos mañana con aquellos que están en el turno de la tarde. Muchísimas gracias. Have a great night, Johnny. We appreciate your time again. Okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good
Thank
night.
you. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you.